Hello Korfball fans and welcome back to the England Korfball Grand Finals 2023-2024 season. This next match is Cardiff City versus Bromley in the promotional playoff game to earn a place in the National League for next season. My name is Jess Davis. We'll soon be joined by the voice of Korfball, Mr. Tom Brady. But first, joined in the commentary booth, I'm with Steph Watson, head coach of Highbury Korfball Club and also lead coach for the talent development pathway. Steph, how are you? Enjoying the day so far?
Yeah, it's been a good day. Yeah, it's been lovely to be here and obviously very happy with Highbury's award earlier today, so happy about that.
Yeah, so talk us through that award that Highbury received.
I believe it's nominated by the referees for fair play and the teams get scored over the season and then it gets accumulated and Highbury were the winners this year.
So that's great because when you consider that Highbury were in this game last year, you know, playing to earn that place into the National League, and I think we were just discussing they finished 7th at the end of the regular season, is that correct?
Yeah.
I mean, some really, really impressive performances. How do you feel the team has evolved and developed from playing in this game against Cardiff, which we'll come on to in a moment, but, you know, how have they found playing in the National League?
Yeah, I mean, it is obviously a big step up and you know, either of these two teams that are going to be going through to the National League will see that, you know, the step up difference is huge and it's that difference between possession into goals being scored, you know, 20 goals a game turns to 25. Some of the scores this season, as we've seen, are, you know, in the mid-30s as well. So it's a new defensive challenge, it's a new attacking challenge, and that's what Highbury's really had to get to grips with early doors. I think one of our first games was, you know, we were conceding over 25 goals. So it was a quick learning curve and then it's really a case of adapting quick, recognising where our own strengths are, and we've been fortunate that we've had a really fluid and large squad to work with. So some of our results this season that we have had against some of the better teams have been with completely different squads that we've been fielding out.
So that's exactly what I was just about to come on to. Having a large squad, I think, is key, and I think, how much do you think you benefit from being a club that potentially, dare I say it, is able to swoop up players from local rivals, you know, being in London? How much do you think of that is of a benefit to, say, a team like Cardiff, being based out in Wales, potentially might not attract as many new players? Do you think that that's going to hold them back, or do you think, I mean, there's certainly a lot of talented players within this team, but how much of a benefit has it been having a larger squad for Highbury this season?
I think, you know, if you're going to compete in the National League, you've got to have a large squad. Ultimately, you know, whether it's injuries, availability, the travel as well, you need to have that fluidity across your squad. And ultimately, you know, for some squads, though, you know, that's, you know, Trojans, for example, they've got a large squad, but at the same time, they've got a very core part of their squad. So it depends what your strengths are and how it works for your team. You know, for Cardiff, it might work keeping a relatively small and tight unit. People know each other better, they play with each other well, but equally Bromley's got the advantage of you know, a lot of youth coming through and talent, so, you know, it always means there's another player available for them.
Certainly. So talk to us about the talent development squad that you're running. As you say, a few of these players for Bromley are within those squads. How are you finding that? How's the process been, setting it up? And how are the players taking to it?
I mean, obviously, it's quite challenging, has its challenges, and it's a new approach. So, you know, we've got to win hearts and minds in what we're doing. But yeah, seeing today, you know, the products of some of both club coaches. I mean, that's, I will say, is the bedrock of what we want, is good club coaching, and it comes through for England, you know, in the end. And obviously the talent system helps, you know, embed some of the better practices that we want to see from our club players, and also making sure that, you know, there is an England way of playing as well. And yeah, seeing some of them today, hopefully we'll see some good goals being scored. But yeah, we've got Ella there, who's and Kashala and Max. They're all in the youth development squads, and Georgia as well. So we'll be seeing some of these names, I'm sure, for the future.
That's great. It's, like you say, it's really great to, I think, have that continuity and, you know that these players aren't just coming in at this level and then being forgotten about, you know, once they've move up into the higher age groups. There is that consistency through the age groups. I think that's going to be really key, like you say, to improving the standards across England Korfball in the years to come. Talk then a little bit about this Cardiff team. I mean, I know you don't know them particularly well, but obviously you did play against them last year and they put in a really strong performance in that game. So are you expecting a close game today between these two sides?
Yeah, I think they're quite different sides, and I think that's where they're going to have to work each other out quite quickly. You know, we've got an experienced side in Cardiff, predominantly, lots of Welsh players or players that certainly were in last year's final. And then you've obviously got a very young Bromley team who've never been in a final before. So, you know, a different mixture of, I guess, challenges to overcome. From the Cardiff side, you know, they do have some prolific scorers in Kira and James, and I'm sure that, you know, they'll be looking to exploit that and play through those as they did against Highbury, and, you know, they did score a fair number of goals against Highbury too, so that's a challenge for Bromley to understand and how they're going to mitigate that. But equally, Bromley have got some very fast players, sharp shooters, and there's a good example of that speed. And a first goal.
Yeah, it's a really nice goal for Ella Young's, apologies. And so finally, just a quick word on these youthful players. How much of the mental side of the game do you, as a, you know, the talent development pathway, how much of the mental side of the game do you spend talking about the psychology of the game? Will this be a bit of a shock to them, this big occasion, or do you think that they'll take this in their stride?
Well, you know, we've done sessions on psychological skills with them, especially in terms of game management and managing game anxiety. So these are the sort of things that we're adding into the programme. So yeah, hopefully, you know, it won't be such a big difference for them. And obviously Ella being in the taking that first goal shows that you know, the occasion doesn't faze her.
That's nice attacking from Georgia Hadji-Georgiou.
Yeah, and they seem to have quite good structure, Bromley here. You know, they're going to have to take that extra pass, but finish those type of shots.
And Bromley taking the early lead, taking it out to 2-0. Right, Steph, I'll thank you for now. I think you're going to join us again at half-time, and we can talk a bit more about the game. But for now, let's bring in the legend that is Mr. Tom Brady. Welcome to the game, Tom.
Thank you, Jess. Look, it started quite brightly. You don't normally expect too many goals in these playoff games because they can be tense, but I'm hoping to get a tense game and a high-scoring game. Let's see how it develops, but it's looking interesting so far.
Really interesting. I mean, Steph and I were just discussing the youth players that she knows for the Bromley team, and they're already putting their stamp on the game. I mean, 2 goals from the girls down the other end. Really impressive start from Bromley.
Nice feed.
Shot on the outside from Turner.
Oh, beautiful drop off the back.
Well picked up by Max Manning. And Bromley take it out to a 3-0 lead. Cardiff not looking shell-shocked. I mean, they've got a lot of experience in this side. Probably the more experienced of the two. They have a lot of international players, particularly, exclusively within the Welsh setup.
And led by, you know, James Wilcox, very steady head. He won't be too rattled by this. Let's see if his calm can infect the team and keep them cool. And they're going to need to be cool. As Kushella Karunaratne takes a nice, really good shot out of 4, Jess.
Yeah, really, really impressive start for Bromley. Cardiff just need to, you know, 4 goals is nothing at this stage in the game. They just need to ride it out, just take a breath, start to get their attack set up. That's a nice shot off the back from Kira Wilcox and a good early goal from her. She is going to be crucial in this game.
Well, 11 shots and 5 goals, Jess. That's
Wow.
like a great start to the game.
Hopefully they can maintain the standard for the whole 60 minutes.
Well, glad to see Cardiff getting on the score sheet because that's going to make it a better game for us all.
That's really clever play between the Bromley boys. Nice to see Ella Moore driving in. Looks as if she's going to be an aggressive player, but I mean that in the nicest sense.
Well, I'm liking this matchup with Georgia Hadji-Georgiou against Nikki Morgan. Big versus small, and I thought early on Nikki Morgan's just trying to bully it out of her, and Georgia's just going to have to show her pace, and she started with that little bounce pass and the strong step in. Keep an eye on that. That's going to be a great matchup. Could decide the game.
Great turn from Kira Washtel.
And Kushala Karunaratne going with the wrong hand late. Stonewall penalty.
As you were saying, I think this matchup between Nikki Morgan and Georgia Hadji-Georgiou is going to be big in this game. But whilst we're talking about the girls, let's talk about those boys.
It's that Tom Young dropping it in off the back. His matchup against James Wilcox is going to be one of the deciding factors as well. Now Wilcox gone into the post against him.
It's not often that James Wilcox plays against somebody the same height, if not taller than him, but also it is common that he'll play against somebody a bit broader than him. So it'd be interesting to see how well Tom Young can keep him out from around the post, but then follow him out because he's going to be shooting from the outside, James Wilcox.
Well, I heard Tom Young won the Bucks Championship last year, and there's no small feat. But he's up against Wilcox, who's got so many internationals under his belt, and yeah, great matchup.
So both teams have earned their spot here by winning the promotional playoffs in their region.
Kushala Karana-Ratner comes up short.
Well collected by Matt Morgan. And into the Cardiff attack. So we'll see Berry in the feed, out to Knight. Shot from Knight on the outside. Drops short, but well picked up by Berry. They will cycle it. Send Berry in. They want to get both the girls out attacking. Nikki Morgan on the outside from distance. Clever play from James Wilcox.
I love his little step back as well. Doesn't work this time, but good from Nikki Morgan.
Yeah, they're doing well to maintain possession and recycle the ball. I think that's their third or fourth shot in the attack already.
Tom Young breaks it down.
Promising signs from Cardiff. Off the back to Turner. Nice shot from him.
Nice turn from Alex Turner then again. Kira Washdale doesn't really seem to want to go out that far. I think it's,
I wonder if she's warned about Eleanor Young and her speed.
She's really hanging off her. Or maybe she doesn't respect a shot. Well, then maybe Bromley can do something about that.
Early shot from James Wilcox. He likes that kind of turning shot from the outside. I think last year's final he scored a good number of goals from a corner. He likes to kind of shoot from a corner, so watch out for that from him. Manning just squeezing the shot up, but it comes up short. And looks as though we're going to see a timeout from Cardiff.
Okay, and probably a good idea, really. You know, Bromley looking good, but no real pattern established to the game yet, Jess, I don't think.
No, certainly, like you say, Bromley really attacking, lots of energy, working really, really hard, high tempo. Cardiff just struggling to get any kind of rhythm. That last attack, like we just said, was actually a lot better, a lot stronger, retaining the ball possession, which is going to be crucial. Keep it away from that young, energetic Bromley side.
Well, if there was any question about Bromley nerves, then because I spoke to their coach, your friend of mine, Russ Carr-Taylor, who's just like one of the best coaches maybe they ever come out of the English system last night, and he was saying that they felt the pressure at Trinity. It was at Whitgift, and they're going, wow, look at that, it's a bit of a crowd, and you wondered how they would adapt to this wonderful crowd that you get here on the UK finals weekend. But they're not showing any nerves, are they? They're looking like they've come to play.
Not at all, and that's another factor that I was just talking about with Steph Watson as part of the talent development pathway. They're spending a lot of time focusing on those psychological skills and making sure that they try to minimise some game anxiety, and it looks as though that's paying dividends today. They certainly don't seem fazed by this really quite large crowd that's turned up for this promo game.
And Bromley currently...
Good hustle from Turner.
Oh, yeah. Bromley currently shooting 20% against Cardiff 6%, so really there's the tail of the scoreline right there.
Great offload to Manning.
Snatched it a little bit.
Turner doing really well to control that post. Good drive. 5 seconds on the shot clock now. They're under a bit of pressure.
And it's going to have to be Alex Turner now. Kushala Karana-Ratner. And she just got the lucky decision. Well, got the decision at the end, and maybe a little bit sloppy from which of the Kiras was that? Kira Wilcox, yes.
Clever turn in the feed from Young.
Great turn.
This is good to see. They're not, not wasting that opportunity. They've got a clock reset and they're taking really good opportunities. Good hand on the feed back in from Washtel. Wins Cardiff the ball.
And good to see a little bit of physicality from Bromley on the way out. Saying we're not going to be bullied. You might be bigger than us and more experienced and older, but we come here to play as well. Not going to be pushed around.
We can't ignore the fact that Ross Carr-Taylor, as we said, coach of Bromley Korfball Club, has great intel into the Cardiff side. The current Wales international coach knows his players inside out, so he certainly might have the worst person that they could play against in a coach.
Well, Ross Cartel was saying that to me last night. He says, look, they know what my style is, but not only can they emulate it, but can they play against it is going to be the key question. Is it Matt Morgan fouls on the ball on the way back out to Kashala, Garana Ratner.
Good pressure from Wilcox. Well picked up by Morgan. The early flurry of goals has just started to slow down as both teams have relaxed into the game, tried to suss each other out.
Georgia, Arju, probably the smallest player on the pitch, showing an athleticism and pulling that down. Well, worrying signs for Cardiff. Look, one goal, Jess.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how close the game is. Like if you only scored one in 12 and a bit minutes, they haven't really got going. Bromley in no way can be complacent though.
Well picked up by Chris Bannum. Yeah, like you say, Cardiff, they won't be fazed by this, but equally, the longer the time goes on, the more that they will need to start being fazed by it, and well held by James Wilcox. Earns a free pass.
And a tiny, nice step into the feed by Isabel Knight there as well, filling the space.
It's great that they're earning these penalties and free passes, but equally, they need to start looking to get some shots from the outside that are collectible. Frankly, a few of their shots have dropped really quite short, and let's see what this one does from James Wilcox. That's better. Well picked up by Knight to Berry into Wilcox. Berry drives. So that's another matchup that we should mention. Sean Berry at the post, number 3 for Cardiff, is the son of Bill Berry, assistant coach for Bromley Korfball Club.
Founder of one of the co-founders of Bromley Korfball Club as well. So he's Bromley through and through. Great to see these youngsters, the kids of former players and former servants of the Korfball game coming through and establishing themselves in good teams.
Good defence from Chris Bannum, but it earns a free pass. Caroline Ratner to the line.
They're not really getting the ball back quick enough to her. Let's see, because, now they've decided to go a different route.
A good decision, really well read by Manning, but the pass off to, is it Eleanor Young, just wasn't hard enough, wasn't firm enough, it wasn't going to get there quickly enough, and Matt Morgan was just able to fumble it.
Alex Turner gets a second bite of the cherry and he misses it, but Bromley retained the ball well and now it's been given away. Alex Turner just looking a little bit frustrated at the post.
Nice shot on the outside from Morgan with her characteristic really high shot that she takes. Really. You're not going to see it now.
There was great pressure from Georgia Hajiwaju, but she gave too much. Nikki Morgan, too smart, pulled it down, let her fly on by.
Yeah, showing her experience. Nikki Morgan, an ex-National League player. She played at Bristol Thunder for a while, so she understands what that step up is all about. She's a very experienced player and could turn out to be, one of the deciding factors in this game. Alex Turner from the outside, not afraid to shoot, which is good to see.
Former Birmingham University player, so that's maybe where he got that little dash and bravado that he's got.
I used to play with Alex back in the day. He told me, I saw him before the game, and he tells me it's been 10 years since he last played, so Good to see him back on the court. It never really leaves you, does it, Tom?
No, because I met him again last night because Bromley, keen as mustard, were down here training. I think it was the only team that took that opportunity. Look at this battle, Nikki Morgan on Hajiwaju. And look, so Hajiwaju, she knows she needs to go close, but she's scared after the last running in shot that she gave up.
Well, the problem for her is sadly something that she can't do anything about, which is going to be her height. Like we've said, she's playing against Nikki Morgan, who is not short. And so she's going to really struggle to put any pressure on, and that might be the only way, is going for that jump. But obviously that's going to cost her in the long run.
But, tactically you can try and compensate with that, with trying to cover behind and like give her freedom and to push out and go for the block. That duel is not over yet. I'm interested. That will keep developing, I think.
So Cardiff doing well to prevent any kind of feed for Bromley. It seems as though they have really settled into the game now, Cardiff.
Yeah, but still only 2 goals, Jess. So,
Defensively, they've settled into the game and stopped the goal rush that was from Bromley at the start.
They've steadied the ship a little bit. Now they need to take advantage of the fact that they're on, let's say, a more equal footing now.
Nice step in the feed from the post out to the feed from Berry, but it doesn't need it. Nikki Morgan again from the outside.
Using her height, score her second goal. And I think maybe Georgia Hajiwaju needs to start closer. She seems to be trying to make up a lot in the last step, and smaller players perhaps just need to really almost be rubbing the belly of your player, like most of the time she goes around. Otherwise, she can just go down the other end and drop a nice goal.
Yeah, why not? I mean, actually, she's certainly got the pace. She can certainly backtrack. If Nikki Morgan's attacking her, she's certainly got the speed to be able to get back level with her. And it could be one of those games where it's anything that you can do, I can do better between those two. But in the meantime, Kira Wilcox is sent to the free pass line.
Been a little bit quiet. 42 goals in 8 promo games. That woman is on fire. Captaining her team today, comes up a bit short. And neither team has scored a free pass. It's 3 misses each.
Good drive from Hajiwaju.
Wonderful flip off as well to Ella Moore. So let's see what Eleanor Young, defending number 5 against Kira Wilcox. She got on the line. Kira Wilcox almost pushed her over, but she's keeping her quiet somehow. Not going out particularly far, allowing Kira Wilcox to take that longer shot. And then as soon as we start talking about it, she earns a good penalty.
Well converted penalty for Kira Wilcox.
It's better from Cardiff, isn't it? I said they need to get Kira Wilcox in the game a little bit more.
For sure.
You can see that the other girls are scared of her, and they're giving her a lot of respect.
And rightly. I mean, when she gets going, she really can be unstoppable.
42 goals in 8 promo games. That's like massive.
Nice shot on the outside from Alex Turner.
Alex Turner. Look at how he G's the crowd.
Chris Bannon, I think, trying to tell the referee that he was being pushed away, but great moves from Alex Turner. Shot from James Wilcox off the back. Well picked up by Sean Berry, who's going to have to spend a lot of time, I think, under the post to allow James Wilcox to come out and do some attacking. Tries to get the ball around the boys, but Tom Young just got his body in the way and drew and caused the foul. Wilcox to the line.
Yeah, he's calm and confident. Just what his team needs at the moment when they're under pressure. But they've started to get some goals, which is great.
Yeah, it's a quick 2 goals, bringing the score back to 5-7 in Bromley's favour. Good interception from Berry, but he doesn't manage to handle it. Young steps through. Hajiwaju gets both girls defending her.
I like the way she's driving in, gets in the air, tries to find her partner, Ella Moore.
It's potentially a lack of vision a little bit there from Bromley. I mean, Izzy Knight had committed so much to winning that ball that I believe she left Ella Moore completely free, but the boys deciding the better option was to take the running in shot.
Excellent collection coming over the top.
Roscoe Taylor's just pulled that Bromley division together and just had a quick word with them, so it'll be interesting to see if they're able to put together whatever it is that he's told them. Good pick up from Knight. So Cardiff aren't going away, even though he certainly feels that Bromley are the team with all the power at the moment. Nice shot from Washtel off the back.
Off the move from Kira Wilcox. Double teaming the Bromley girls, very aware of the risk of giving her anything.
Mason to the post. Yeah. Wilcox, I've noticed that James has just been putting that hand in just to try and put pressure on that feed. But yeah, the referees have deemed that that's too much. Referees for this game, Paul James, as we've said, Rob King, sorry. Rob King and Jack Birch. So Jack Birch is an FA referee.
Great to see bringing some of the, let's say, outside knowledge of refereeing. Obviously, he's a Korfballer as well, but like the FA obviously have a great standard of refereeing. Nice drive through, just kind of won't go, but Tom Young picks it up against Wilcox.
Georgia Hadji-Georgiou's just on the floor. I think she just took a knock, but I think she'll be okay. I don't think it's anything too serious.
Well, I like the way she gets in to all the action. Yeah, she's Charlie. She's involved in the whole game, captaining the team today, I think.
I spoke to her before the game, and yeah, she was confident. There's no idea in her head that they don't deserve to be here, or that Cardiff, but possibly for some people, were the favourites coming into this game. I think drawing on that experience that they've had from being in this game last year, and again, some of Bromley players being so young, but it doesn't seem to have phased them at all.
Well, the Cardiff shooting percentage has gone up to 13%, and Bromley down to 15, and this dropped a little bit after those couple of shots as well. But good retention from Tom Young.
Yeah, certainly after those early goals in the first 10 minutes of the game, it's certainly dried up a bit, hasn't it, Tom? I mean, it's only 5-7 at the moment.
Well, Bromley are a young team, and have they developed enough that they've got 2 or 3 different styles of attacking that as soon as Cardiff really work out what they're doing, and I think they're getting to the stage where Cardiff are going, okay, we see you, we know what you're doing, let's just see if we can block that up. Have they got another way to go? Well, they're coached by Roscoe Taylor, who really, as I said, is always one of my favourite coaches to watch, any team that he puts out. I've enjoyed, obviously, but really was brilliant for Kingfisher, and now coaching Wales. It's only his second year with them of a 3-year plan to get them into National League. Has he had enough time to see what they could do? Oh, love that. Georgia Hadji-Georgiou, beautiful turn. Now, don't take this the wrong way, but I can't imagine being that small on the court in the middle of all this and having her confidence and her energy and athleticism just going like, she's owning that court. She's involved in everything.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, everyone's smaller than you, Tom, but certainly, yeah. I mean, the confidence is fantastic. I mean, in captaining the side, so she's always going to be a confident player, but great to see that, she is not fazed by this occasion whatsoever. And if anything, I wonder if this is pushing her on and really making her have the impact that she is having. I mean, Nikki Morgan, she is defending is her strength. It's really something that she's so strong at, and yet these girls.
Fantastic from Ella Moore. But once again, Georgia Hadji-Georgiou, she got the defenders moving. I think they switched. Well, there was a drop-off before Moore came round. Oh, that was good from Bromley. Exciting to see them trusting the girls on the outside to create the space and finish the goals.
Really exciting. There's just no stopping that at the moment.
And Bromley have scored 6 of the 9 goals from girls, and Cardiff 4 out of 5. So it is a very girl-focused game.
Is that something that, I mean, you know, there's that old kind of adage in Korfball that, you know, boys cancel each other out and it's girls that win you the game. Do you think that's still true today, Tom? Or is that something that you might see more at this, you know, this lower end of you know, as these teams try to get into the National League?
I mean, yeah, like it did get said a lot, especially about international tournaments, where you'd look at the quality of the girls in the team and you're thinking, okay, look, they're really dangerous. I think now it's kind of game on game, matchup on matchup. Kushana
Ratner.
Look at a smile on her face and finishing a great goal, and the girl power just goes on in this game.
Love to see that. You probably can't see that on your screens right now, but Kira Wilcox, who I believe was defending Karen Ratner, just telling the boys, you've got to be there. You have to cut that feed. And I think that's true down both ends. They need to do something different defensively because these girls are unstoppable at the moment.
And in the meantime, the lead's gone out to 5, and Matt Morgan's not going to improve the situation with that. And it might have been a shout for a penalty, really, as Matt Morgan flew by. Never mind, though, because Karina Ratner. Oh, fantastic. Eleanor Young gets it at the back.
Too easy. I mean, normally you think you'd be saying the other way around about inexperience, but that was too easy. Cardiff should have read that.
But was that Max Manning again with that clever turn?
Yep.
As well, and yeah, that's smart play from him. Great finish as well from Moore. You know, 7 different players have scored for Bromley, always a good sign.
Haja Georgiou goes for the one-handed turn in the feed. Moore on the outside, picked up by Wilcox. So 3 minutes left in the half, Tom. I mean, Cardiff still only on the 5 goals to Bromley's 11. It really does feel like it's Bromley's game at the moment. What can Cardiff do at half time? I mean, they've brought in Ruth Campbell-Barbier to act as a coach just for this match on its own, because typically they are coached by Chris Bannum, number 38. So what is it that Ruth can be saying to them at half time? You know, utilising her on the sideline, what can she say to them to try and bring them out in the second half?
Well, I think the first thing is mental, as it always is with coaching, and giving them the belief that even though, okay, let's say it finished now and they're 6 goals behind, it's going to take a lot of mental belief for them to start thinking, okay, that we can do this. In terms of style of play, I'd like to see him play a little bit open and just make more passes, more down the sides, more over the top. And defensively, yeah, I'm not quite sure. Well, they've kept Bromley down to 11, and they obviously know what they're doing in terms of the way they're switching the girls to cover. Maybe the boys, as you mentioned, need to give more support. Maybe take a little bit more risk on the inside to cut out the feeds for the Bromley girls, which have been magnificent, and see if you can't generate some other shots from other people.
That's exactly it. I would agree. I think make them show that they have got that second style of play that we were talking about earlier. I'm sure Roscoe Taylor has got something in the bag, but they don't need to use it at the moment because it's working for them. But that is a great goal from Kira Wilcox.
And get more Kira Wilcox into the game, get her more shots. It's a 3rd goal only. But really, you know, I think she's their go-to girl, maybe their go-to player, you know, or maybe start having a couple of spells where they're saying, like, Kira, you know, you have got free reign to do some more shooting, because she's playing a good team role at the moment. Maybe she needs to step up and start being more greedy and taking more shots.
Good pressure on the feed from James Wilcox.
Yeah, I mean, like, Nick Mason's complaining, but there was a long way out. It's a pass that's coming in I didn't really like. That's it. That's Kira Washdow. I think Cardiff probably just let this go out, and eventually it does come out in the final minute.
Ball over the top. Oh, bit of confusion there between Haja Georgiou and Moore. Young in the feed. Gives it off to Nick Mason, but it is given as a penalty.
Yeah, and
I'm not sure if that was a foul from Berry or on Wilcox. Or
definitely Barry.
Okay.
Wilcox's position was good,
Yeah.
but like he might have defended it, but Berry kind of like sealed his fate, really reaching in there, and Cardiff,
another missed penalty.
Cardiff have got lucky there.
Well picked off by Alex Turner. Cardiff just broadcasting what it is they want to do. I think, it's clever to play a little bit wider and to utilise the space, but that ball needs to be moving a lot quicker, and the movement needs to be there in order for the ball to be able to move.
One last chance. Oh, almost defended in the end, but fantastic effort. Tipped him to himself.
Shot from Kira Wilcox from the halfway line. It's not going to go. Well, an interesting half. 6-11, not quite the game that I think a lot of people were expecting so far. I think Cardiff certainly haven't come out and shown quite what they're about yet, but they're not out of it. 5 goals is certainly something that they can make back.
Well, let's get Steph Watson's view on this. Steph, how did you see the game going?
Yeah, I think we've got a bit of an issue for Cardiff, certainly in the rebound. They're really struggling, and they're losing that possession at the rebound too quickly, and it's just giving Bromley a lot of possession. And conversely, Bromley have had several multiple phase attacks, and it's just giving them a little bit more time to exploit the defence. So I think for Cardiff, they're going to have to solve that battle at both ends, defensively and in attack.
Those players that we were talking about from your talent development pathway, I mean, geez, what a half. I mean, particularly, let's talk about Georgia Hadjigeorgiou, a player for the future for sure.
Yeah, I mean, obviously what we can see is she can really set free a division, because her pace will obviously release other players, as well as her own ability to score, finish that shot. So, when you've got that speed and agility as she's demonstrating, it's not just for your own benefit, but it releases the whole team, and that's again what we really want to see. Those qualities replicated, by 4 would be the ideal.
Sure. And so, how can Cardiff combat that? Because she's dynamic, she's so fast, but she's got a great shot on the outside as well. So, what is it that Cardiff need to do to prevent her from dominating the game like she is?
Yeah, I think Nikki needs to. It is Nikki.
Yes,
isn't
it is. Yeah.
I think Nikki needs to be a little bit more confident and actually put a bit more pressure on that shot, because at the moment, when she goes out, she's going out very late, and then Georgia's past her, and then she's hanging off, and Georgia's getting the free shot. So she hasn't got that balance right. And ultimately, it's you've got to defend as a team when you've got players like that can use assists and basically are carving up the attack single-handedly. So Cardiff have got to look at their overall front defence, protect Nikki as well a little bit more, but also a bit of paired defence from those girls, as they have been doing. And then pick off the remains, and that's where they're losing it. When Ella's taken that shot, when Georgia dishes it off, they're still getting the possession back, and actually that's where Cardiff need to pick off that shot and get the ball back.
For sure. And so, just before we go to the break, are you willing to make a prediction?
Well, I mean, when you look at 11 goals at half-time, that is basically a good National League measure. Are you ready for the National League if you can score 10.5? That's really the metric, and Bromley are there. At 6 goals, it's going to be a big ask for Cardiff to get back into the game. Obviously, again, do Bromley have that ability to stay in the game? I mean, that time will tell on that, but certainly Cardiff have got to sort out their possession first. They've not got enough, and it's not going to convert them anywhere near enough shots, and as we can see, not near enough goals.
Okay, that's brilliant. Steph, thanks for your insight. Make sure you come back in the second half, where hopefully Cardiff can get back into this game. Okay, welcome back to the second half of this promotional playoff game to earn a place in the National League for next season between Cardiff and Bromley. Cardiff, 6 goals in the half, as we were saying before half-time, Steph, just not enough to earn them that place in the National League. They really need to step their game up.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, you know, they're going to have to get some quick goals early on in the game. Otherwise, really, the game will be a big ask for them to come back. As I said, you know, they've got to manage that possession as well at the post, get a few more shots up. You know, ultimately, I would have thought, you know, they're not shooting enough to even get, you know, the goals that they require, and they're going to need at least another sort of 13 to 15 in this half to win a game against a Bromley that's shooting well and moving well.
And certainly another metric that we were looking at half-time. Cardiff, 3 different goal scorers for their 6 goals, whereas Bromley sharing it out between 7 of their players. You know, that's makes a huge difference when you can turn to anyone on the pitch. I mean, it's not to say that Cardiff can't do that, but they're just not doing it at the moment.
No, and it just puts a huge amount of pressure on, you know, a very small group of people in the team. And again, look, there we go, another goal for Georgia. Just smart bit of play.
Really impressive play from her. Really enjoying seeing this matchup. I'm surprised that I'd like to think that Cardiff might try and do something different. I mean, maybe even just swap the defenders, put Knight onto Hadja Georgie, just so that she has to think about something different. Clearly the height matchup isn't working for her. I mean, she's just able to sail underneath Nikki's arms.
Yeah, I mean, this is just really not going to work, and the Cardiff need to make a tactical change here. Probably actually take one of the girls from the other end and switch them down, help Nikki out, because Nikki is in attack able to take shots off Georgia, and that's because she's got that nice high shot. But defensively, it's she's been, you know, it's been very difficult for her.
They have got options on the bench as well with Alex Zenz and Naomi Wrigley. I mean, they're not bad defenders. They certainly, you know, would be able to come onto this game and have an impact. But I would think that they would like to do something different pretty soon.
Well, they're going to need to, because, you know, 6-12, and it's going to make it a very difficult challenge to come back. And, you know, we just, you know, saw there, you know, again, not winning that battle against Bromley under the post. You know, they need a lot more possession than they're getting, and lost it again. You know, they're never going to start creating attacks until they start getting shots up, and at the moment they're not even getting to that first phase attack.
Well, that's what we were talking about earlier as well. We were saying that Bromley at the moment haven't had to go to a phase 2. They can still play the same, you know, aggressive driving in style of Korfball. Hopefully Cardiff will bring a tactical change, which will mean that they can show another side of their game. Cardiff not even pulling together that initial style of play, which here we're trying to get to set up so James Wilcox can attack. Shot off the back from Sean Berry.
Yeah, and that's probably one of their first more structured attacks, you know, where they've taken a good shot, there was a rebound in, even with a miss, you know, and they can play again and set it up, and now, you know, the space is there. And again, loss on the rebound, they've got to win these ones, because even a 2-phase shot, you know, it's all on James otherwise to score. And, you know, looking elsewhere in the section, otherwise they're going to need some of their other peripheral players to step up, and at the moment they're either not getting the space or not getting the ball.
So if you were the coach of Cardiff at halftime, what was it that you would have been saying to them to try and, you know, encourage them and get them back into this match?
I think they definitely need to, as I said before, they've got to win the rebound battle. They're the 50-50s. These, you know, even those 50-50s are not going their way at the moment. But the critical one is they're getting one-shot attacks and sometimes no-shot attacks. And, you know, you can't play Korfball without the ball in your hands.
Very true. And there's another foul there.
Yeah, I'd like to see whether they actually react to that, because there's been 2 free passes where they've come off the back and they seem to still, again, they've reacted a bit better here, make them take the shot, and that's better. That's as much better to see rather than the running in shot being conceded off the back.
So Wilcox on the outside looking to get the ball in tonight in the feed, but it's just not going to happen. And again, that collect picked off by the shortest player probably on the pitch in Georgia Hadja Georgie.
Yeah, and I guess what we've got to look at here is how well Bromley are going to exploit, because in the first half they were capitalising, and it's, again, are they going to be able to with all this possession? And, you know, that will help.
Clever play from Alex Turner, holding that ball, drawing Chris Banham into the air and slots it away. Extends their lead 13-6. It's certainly Bromley's to lose at the moment, isn't it, Steph?
Yeah, and, you know, to be fair, the way that they're playing, you know, they've got all the possession, and they've got, you know, again, turnover without even a shot going up in the attack. You know, you're not winning games with that approach.
risky, possibly silly pass there from Bromley. Ball off to Wilcox, who turns it down, looks for the drive in, but really good defensive position from Young. Morgan just holds the ball, waiting to get the set up. She'll get the ball on the outside, she'll take that shot.
Yeah, and that's what she can do. You know, she can get that long shot away. That's great. It's whether the rebound at the end of it is going to actually win the possession for her. They get another shot, and that's when James can be opened up in the section. Yeah,
you're right. It does feel like it's very one phase of play at the moment. They don't seem to. Well, they're certainly not retaining the ball in order to even show a second phase of play. But I do wonder if they have that second opportunity, what they would do with it. Ball off the back to Berry, but it's not the best pass. He will shoot it though. Well picked up by Wilcox.
But this is now the first time I've actually seen Cardiff retain the ball, and you know, if they do get a goal at the end of this attack, that will be, you know, good for them to actually, you know, 6 phases now to build on something to actually get into this game, because otherwise they're never going to get a foothold in the game.
Very true, and this is much better. Like we're saying, they're retaining the ball, and actually they're starting to get into that. I was just about to say, starting to get into that second phase of play a bit quicker, but it's all just too slow. It's too pedestrian. They're broadcasting it to Bromley, and they're just able to pick it off every time.
Yeah, and you can see a little more urgency about Bromley as well. You know, really attacking in, and it's interesting. We've got 2 sections here who are struggling to score a little bit at the moment. You know, the section in with Max in there with Bromley, you know, starting to give away the ball a little bit, and this section are struggling to finish. So we need a goal from one end, and there it comes.
That was very good timing. So, yep, nice goal from Sean Berry. Mason just stepping forward, trying to cut that feed. You know, very clever play, but it does leave Berry free off the back of the post.
But it's interesting, isn't it? It comes off the back of the fact that they just had an 8-phase attack, and, you know, that's where they're going to get their goals from. And, you know, I'd like to see this other section now, you know, Kira's end, have that same patience, the same setup, same structure. Rather than just, you know, going for any option.
Clever defence there from the girls. But the penalty has been drawn. Foul on the feed from Turner, I believe. And we'll see a substitution for Bromley. Nick Mason making way for number 30, Mark Drew. So Washtall's on the line. Missed her earlier penalty. Can she put this one away? And no, it comes short. Last one was long, this one was short.
Yeah, I mean, those misses when you're already down, you know, they feel like they count for double. And probably, you know, they're going to need to really pick themselves up. Yeah, I mean, just seeing it's the 3rd missed penalty there for Cardiff. And, you know, in a game like this, it's a final to get into the National League. You can't be affording to do that. And here we go again.
Lovely drive from Hadjigeorgiou. I feel like we're going to be saying that all half.
But what we see here is she's willing to do other roles too, and that's where she's so dangerous. You know, yes, she can go out and attack really strong, but I've seen her pick up rebounds. I've seen her take the long shot. You know, really nice. And again, look at this. You know, Cardiff should be winning those. There's 2 boys at the post there to pick it off, and they're not.
Drew will turn and shoot that. Just comes up short, which is very fortunate for Cardiff.
I'd like to see James's experience in this section defensively for Cardiff do a little bit more. You know, pick up these balls, because that's where they're going to get the other end, Chris's end, into the attack, and, you know, starting to work a little bit harder.
Yeah, certainly, I completely agree. Ball over the top to Wilcox on the outside. She wants that feed, but nobody's there. Well defended from Bromley. Morgan on the outside, but again, Bromley just read what they're trying to do. It feels as if their only option at the moment is a ball over the top and then looking for the feed, and Bromley reading it every time.
Yeah, and you can see in the other end, conversely, they've just got so many options. Tom taking the post, or, you know, the girls working out the front, and he shouldn't be able to step like that easily, just to get an assist when there's another boy at the post. So that's something, again, for Cardiff to really, lovely goal.
Lovely shot on the outside from Tom Young.
Yeah, his 2nd goal, and, you know, again, does a lot of the groundwork for Bromley, and this is sort of what we don't want to see, is hopeful shots that, you know, won't really get anywhere, and then they lose the ball. So, you know, for me now it's either a timeout or a tactical change. Otherwise, Cardiff will only find that deficit getting bigger.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. It does look as if Cardiff are looking to potentially either put in a sub or do a it does look like they're going to make a substitution, actually. Hadji Georgie from the outside. Good hand from Berry, but ball goes out of play.
Yeah, slightly better defence there from James. You see that first assist that George was looking for just being cut, and you know that's what they need to do. Just get the shot protected. Oh, lovely goal. 2 from 2 in that attack.
Incredible shot from Young. Having a really strong performance against James Wilcox, keeping him very quiet. Substitution then for Cardiff.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, obviously to come in defence is interesting, whether that was intended or not, but I think that section in the attack certainly need an option for them.
Yeah.
And here, you know, I think we will hopefully see that structure again that they had before, but can they build on it without the other end conceding is going to be another question.
Yeah, clever there. Well held by Sean Berry. Under a lot of pressure. Sends him to the penalty spot. It's a good goal.
Yeah.
Well converted.
Unconventional technique, but if it goes in, they all count the same.
So down this end, we've had the substitution, Matt Morgan for, well, Liam Patterson for Matt Morgan. The shooting percentages still aren't great in this game. You've got Bromley shooting at around 17% and Cardiff only at 10%.
Yeah, and that's something you're going to really have to, you're going to see in the National League. You know, we've had games where we've only been shooting 15% and you just only get 8-9 goals out of that. The defensive pressure again in the National League will, you know, prevent you from finishing those types of shots. You won't get the defensive errors that you might get in the lower leagues. So that's something for both teams, you know, to whoever goes through is going to have to work on. They need to get those shooting percentages higher or get your shots in a little bit closer.
Certainly, I mean, both teams, well, all teams should be aiming to be shooting at least around 100 shots, and so, you know, that conveniently makes your shooting percentages very easy to calculate. But yeah, shooting in the low teens is really not going to get you enough goals to win any games.
No, or you're asking them to be taking, you know, well over 130 shots, and you know you're not going to get that in the National League. You know, when you've got some of, you know, we saw today with Kingfisher's defence, you know, on Nomads, you're not going to get those shots, and if you are, they're going to be very hopeful shots at best. So, yeah, working these shorter shots as Bromley have been doing.
Really clever play from Bromley. Love to see that. Alex Turner just getting the crowd fired up. And the crowd certainly are very much in Bromley's favour at the moment. I mean, there are a lot of Cardiff fans who've come to support, but they're being kept very quiet by this performance at the moment.
Yeah, you know, if we had a heat map, we'd see that Bromley's goals are all within that sort of 7-8 metre range, you know, clever shots or creating the space through really good attacking play. Cardiff have predominantly been shooting, you know, much further out, and hence the percentages are much lower.
See, that was much better. Yeah, much better play from Washtel. Sent to the penalty spot again for her third penalty of the match. And it just comes up short again. I think it's just in her head. Which is a shame because she's an experienced player, has played in the National League before. Was at Cambridge Tigers for a while.
Yeah, but you know, if you can sense, you know, your team's perhaps not on top of their game, you know, these things start feeding into your own performance as well. And there we go, and you know, the reverse works the other way. If you're having a great game and your team's playing well, every shot goes in and it just feels like, you know, you can't miss.
I spoke to Georgia Hadji-Georgie before the game and she said that she was confident, but my word, what a performance from her.
Yeah, I mean, 5 goals and we're not, you know, still got 17 minutes left of the game. You know, this is a huge contribution from a single player. But as I said, it's her effect on the whole division as well. And, you know, that's her main contribution is that she's opening up the section for others to also create and also for herself to finish on.
But also the fact that they're scoring, they're getting the crowd involved as well. And you know, you can't underestimate how much of an impact that can have in a game like this where there isn't necessarily a home favourite. The crowd there could be a lot of impartial people here, but actually if you're going to support one team or the other, it's going to be the team that not just are scoring goals but are playing the more attractive Korfball and really getting fired up, and Bromley are really winning the crowd over.
Yeah, and they're setting a marker down, you know, ultimately 17 goals and still 16 minutes left. You know, this is the sort of goal scoring rate that you'd want to see in the National League too. So, you know, they are going to be causing problems for whoever they face if they do go up and continue as they're doing.
Well, as we're talking about Bromley, I mean, Cardiff have scored some nice goals in the last few attacks, so they are getting back. Well, maybe not getting back into the game quite yet, but they are are turning the score over a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, they've obviously scored 4 now, and, you know, they only scored 6 in a whole half, so this is definitely a better rate for them. But, you know, even at this margin, you know, 15 minutes left and they're 8 goals down, they are going to have to either hope that Bromley give it away a little bit, or they're going to have to change their tactics in the attack and keep that ball away from Bromley's hands, because at the moment, when Bromley've got it, they're putting the ball in the basket as well.
So let's see what Cardiff can do in this attack then. So Patterson to Washall. Wants the ball off to Banham, but well covered by Turner. So into the space. Banham takes that shot, but again, being held at the post by Manning.
Yeah, I'd like them to have that sort of second pass option as well, you know, and again, when they're being forced to just take that first pass, first shot option, and, you know, 4 people are dropping at the post just to pick that off. There is another pass there. You've got to look for it. You've got to find it. You know, that's when you start opening out your opportunities.
Good defensive position from Izzy Knight. Time-out then for Cardiff. They really need to come together and make some changes. It does look as if they will be making a substitution after the timeout. I believe Alex Zenz will be coming on, so we'll see where she's going to be coming. What more can Ruth be saying to them? I mean, I appreciate she's not their regular coach. She has just been drafted in just to help them out today. But even we can see from the sidelines that there's a lot that they could be doing better. And like you say, I do agree. I think it is that second phase. They're opening up the court a bit more. They are moving the ball, which is better. But it is very predictable. They are taking that first shot. How can she help them to recognise that and to play that next ball and to take the better shots?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is she's got to tell her team there's still 15 minutes left in this game, and they've got to take their eyes off the scoreboard ultimately, and they've got to go back to the drawing board and say, right, 15 minutes, you know, ultimately, are we a team in this league that can score 8-9 goals in that period? And the answer is yes. We've seen that in the promo leagues that they can, and, you know, can they start to pick off some of these balls off Bromley? You know, they're starting now to, you can see, take defended shots. So, you know, ultimately it's a little bit of composure. Where's their asset? It is in their experience. And, you know, they've got to make sure that they're winning that ball back on the 50-50s. And that's always a good start. When the ball's in your hands, you know, ultimately it might not be working for you, but, you know, you're not conceding at the same time.
Certainly. I mean, when you look at both of these teams, they've both obviously been playing in the promotional leagues this season. And Bromley undefeated in their promotional league. Cardiff not undefeated, but they did win the promo league that they were in. Their semi-final was against Bearsted, and they won that really comfortably. Bromley, on the other hand, had a playoff game against Manchester Hawks, and they only won that by 1 goal. I think it came down to golden goal even, and the scorer of that golden goal isn't even on the pitch at the moment. So, you know, on paper, Bromley had the tougher route to get here, and yet it really seems like they're the team in the ascendancy at the moment. I mean, if we're looking at the stats, Bromley are shooting at around 23%, which is bang on where you want to be. I mean, that's really good. Cardiff only at 15%. I mean, they are improving. It is getting better, but it needs to get better a lot quicker if they want to bridge that 8-goal gap.
Yeah, and you're sort of looking at the game and we're thinking, well, where are they going to bridge that gap? And, you know, both sections really struggling, whilst, you know, Bromley just, again, have more and more of the ball. So it is a tough ask for Cardiff, and how they're going to do it is, you know, just making sure they play the patient game. And, you know, they've got to challenge in those positions, the 50-50s. They've got to win.
From a game management point of view, I mean, that's what we're seeing really nicely from Bromley. They are slowing the tempo down, but it's almost allowing them to then, when they do turn that tempo up through players like Georgia, it is creating goals for them. So their game management is really impressive at this stage of the game.
Yeah, and Bromley, you know, really defended well. You know, they've clearly got a plan and they've stuck to it really, really well. And I'd really like to see, you know, the variety of goals that they've scored. You know, boys on the outside and girls on the inside, and then they've been able to switch it up.
So sorry, Steph, that there was quite a clear example of what we've been talking about. It was a really nice ball off the back to Kira Washall, but then everyone just stood there and watched it and went, oh, that was a nice pass, and now she's free. But she's free from quite a distance away from the post, not where she wants to be shooting, not the high percentage shot, and nobody else was reacting to offer the next pass, and that's what we're talking about when we're talking about that next phase of play. It's, well, yes, fair enough, you've created an opportunity, but is it the best opportunity? And no, what else can you do to create another opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, look at Bromley, but by example, they just took 8 shots in that one attack, no goal. But it's every person that's taken a shot is going to be more likely to score the next one. Here we've got a situation where you get 1 shot, and it's not going to be enough.
It's not going to be enough, and you'd like to think that, again, we talked about the experience that these Cardiff players have got. They really need to be coming together now and just saying, look, this is not working. Let's change it up. At this point, you've got nothing to lose. Do something different. Change it up. And I think partially, if we look back to last year, that was something that Tom and I were saying about them last year. You had players on the pitch who were scoring 10, 11 goals, and they just needed to do something different. But it doesn't feel as if, at the moment, they've learned that lesson. Substitution then. Berry will be making way for Matt Morgan.
No, and I guess that's, something, for them to, perhaps reflect on. And it's hard to do that in game rather than after the game. But yeah, as you say, they need change. But do they know where they need that change? And that's harder to do. And again, like you say, they haven't got maybe their regular coach might be playing or, not watching from the outside. And that makes it even harder,
Definitely. I mean, and then they also are missing one of their, I think it's fair to say, one of their starting 4 boys in James Newitt isn't here today, he brings a lot of height, has scored a lot of goals in this season, so that is something that they're missing. So it looks as though Patterson will be making way for Berry as he comes on into the other division.
Yeah, what's been really nice, is credit to Bromley here. They've turned up to this final and they've put 19 goals on the scoreboard, and they've done it across their team and across different parts of the pitch. And, that's what, the spectator wants to see. They want to see a close game, but ultimately they also want to see good goals being scored with good korfball, good athleticism, good fight for the ball. And, they've got options coming from everywhere, Bromley.
Oh, definitely. And we're talking about 19 goals. That's 19 goals with 11 minutes left still in this half. It's really impressive from them. I mean, like you say, the athleticism that they're showing, really, really impressive stuff for a young side. Bearing in mind, I know we keep talking about how young they are, but when you get into the National League, you're playing against some very, very experienced heads. We're saying that Cardiff know what they're doing, but the National League is a whole nother beast. What is it that you think Bromley can do to... If I mean, it's 10 goal gap now, but 10 goals in 10 minutes would be impressive for Cardiff. Bromley coming into the National League, how can they compete with those teams? I mean, the teams at the bottom of the table this season, Manchester Warriors, Tornadoes, how can they compete with those teams who've got a wealth of experience?
Well, I think what they're demonstrating here is, even without the experience, what they have got is a well-organised, structured system which plays to their strengths. And, they've absolutely executed that really, really well. Good patience from a young team, and that's been really nice to see. Look at this, not just throwing it up, waiting for the moment to come. And as I said, the last attack was a really good example of what we've been talking about all game, which is there was about 4 50-50 balls under the post. For Cardiff to go pick off, and they lost every single one, and in the end it resulted in a little drop-off shot for Georgia, and then conversely in their own attacks losing it again. So that is something for them to take away, but also Bromley take that into the National League, win those rebound battles, and you're giving yourself half the battle already with the ball in your hands. And what's nice to see, as I said, they can work the close range shots, so they're not relying on one player scoring really far out. They've got options really, really close as well.
Yep, so Cardiff win the ball back then. Let's see what they choose to do in this attack. Morgan to Morgan. Husband and wife combination. Wilcox back to Morgan. Oh, Zenza's come on. Did I miss that substitution? Alex Zenza's on the pitch.
Yeah, and just earned herself a penalty.
Well converted by her. They certainly need that. So that brings, again, 9 goals difference with 9 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, it's a really difficult period for Cardiff, really, because Bromley are now quite relaxed. And obviously when teams get relaxed, you're in a position where, every shot is just going to come off your hands a little bit easier, and, you're more likely to score rather than less. So, it becomes an even more of an uphill battle. It's nice to see a few, differences of approach, and Cardiff still, putting a fight out there, which is what we want to see.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was just about to say. You know, in Cardiff's favour, they are still hustling. They are still putting the fight in. They've not let their heads drop too much. They really are. You know, look defensive pressure here. They're all on those ball lines, really trying hard to, to block the opportunities. Well read by Chris Banham. Good pressure from Sean Berry, you know, and well picked up by Kira Wilcox. Look, love that from her. You know, a bit of a shout, a bit of a come on, just really trying to encourage her team. She's not giving up. It is possible. It is possible. They could come back and do this. They have got the skills and the talent within the team, certainly to score 9 goals in 8 minutes, but they just need to move the ball a bit quicker. They're under a lot of pressure. Pressure from Tom Young sends James Wilcox to the free pass line.
Yeah, and if they defend like they just did down that end, which is put pressure on, make Bromley shoot long, you know, gives them the ball back and they can convert. So that's what's been missing for them, that defensive pressure, make Bromley shoot those longer shots and then pick off the scraps. And that's really, again, one of the first times we've really seen them put that pressure on. And, you know, this is what we do want to see, long shots going from far out. This should be Cardiff's ball all day. And, you know, when it is, this is when you can come back and actually get goals yourself.
Yeah, it does seem as if under the post, James Wilcox is very conscious of not trying to get the wrong side of Tom Young, who has shown that he can just put the ball up and is very clever around that post area. Kira Wilcox in the attack then, probably looking to attack through her, though Chris Banham has got a lot of space on the outside against Alex Turner, but that's taking shots from way too far away. Good drive from Kira Wilcox, who slots it home. Easy opportunity for them.
And this is a really, you know, important timeout for Roscar Taylor for Bromley, because he can see what's happening. You know, they're starting to go for those low percentage shots, shoot further out. You know, a slight, you know, perhaps they've been forced into that occasion, or perhaps that, you know, just a little bit of a mindset change that, you know, Cardiff are coming back, and just to calm them down really, and just reiterate that what they're doing and what they have been doing all game long has been working really well for them. Opportunity for Cardiff, obviously, to say, you know, got the last 3 goals out of the last few attacks, and you know, this is a relatively young team we're facing. Let's make this last 6 minutes really difficult.
Yeah, certainly, because again, this last phase of the game, the last 6-7 minutes, that can really start getting into your head, can't it? When you do see the other team start ticking away at that scoreboard, they are young. They don't necessarily have the experience inside. Could they start to feel the pressure and start to capitulate a little bit? We'll have to wait and see. Shooting wise, Bromley still over 20%, still shooting around 21%. Cardiff have upped it. They are up to 16%, which is a lot better. You've just got to see how the next 7 minutes goes.
Yeah, I mean, you know, ultimately, if you bring it within 5 and there's 6 minutes left, you know, it can be done. I mean, we've seen certainly many a grand final over the year between Beck and Trojans come back from bigger deficits than that. But, you know, like we say, we're going to have to make sure that they're a little reliant on Bromley giving it away, and, you know, applying that defensive pressure, you know, start winning these battles, get that ball back. And it's nice to see that little bit of fight in Kira for her team and say, you know, we can still do this.
So Young to Hadjigeorgiou, out to Mason on the back, who shoots that one. And he's off the pitch.
Yeah, it's quite a confusing line, that one. I think a few players in the earlier game as well being caught out by the back line.
I'm sure I've seen more players over it than potentially have been called up for that decision, but they hustle and they win the ball back, which, you know, good to see. Good to see they're not giving up as the ball comes out of their attack. Yeah,
I mean, look at that. You're 7 goals up and you're marking the ball out of defence and, you know, winning it back for your team. And you know, that is a great attitude to see, and, you know, good for the spectator too. We like a little bit of hustle. Oh, lovely.
Oh. Wishful thinking from Drew under the post, but we like to see it. Okay, so what can this division do? Banham into the feed, nice and early, looks for Wilcox, but she can't get past Karunaratne. So shot on the outside.
And again, the ball lost there. I mean, interesting option there. You know, they had another free go and again play the extra pass. It's clearly setting up in the 2-2 with the girls attacking. Haven't seen them really play like that. So let's see whether they set that up again and, you know, see if they can work at a slightly better shot option.
Wilcox to Washtal to Banham. Wilcox looking for the drive. I think I think Moore took a good line there. So it's just a mark-up. Banham in the feed then, wants the ball out to Washtel, who's going to shoot that one. Comes up short though. A lot of their shots have been short, I must say. And, effectively in an uncollectible position.
Yeah, here's a nice bit of 2-2 the other way around. But ultimately, the rebounder can anticipate that. They can move around. Max didn't really have to do a lot to pick that off. He's just stood still. So we'd like to see the boys here for Cardiff, work that little bit harder if they're going to play this setup.
For sure. I mean, that's not the shot that I'd like to see Cardiff taking. So Wilcox on the outside, over to Berry, looking for Washel off the back. That's the opportunity you want to see, but that's not the pass that she wanted to receive. Good drive from Wilcox. Yep, and she draws the penalty.
Yeah, and that's where a bit of experience pays off. You can just pick up the infringement or another penalty miss, and when you're thinking your goal margin, if they had scored their 5 penalties, they'd only be down by a couple, and that's a big difference in a game like this.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, penalties, they are incredibly tricky to convert in terms of the psychological effect that having a penalty can have on you. But like you say, that's five easy goals, really. That should be the highest percentage shot you're ever going to get. And unfortunately, without putting them away, it's put them under a great deal of pressure.
Yeah, and this girl pairing between Ella and Georgia has been really fruitful for Bromley today. I mean, a huge number of goals just between the pair of them. And as we said, it's just been really nice to see this sort of paired attacking and the boys doing their bit as well, picking up goals but supporting them really, really well. It's been really nice to see that attack has been, well set up, well organised and well executed.
Yeah, for sure. So it looks as though we will have a timeout. There was a substitution just before the timeout, apologies. So Ruth Campbell-Barbier just trying to say the last few pieces of advice that she can to her team for today. With about 4 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a huge celebration for Bromley. This isn't just the product of, this season. This is the product of many, many seasons going into youth development. And, that is from, what's happening on in classrooms, going around in the schools that Bromley do so much for, going up through into club level and seeing that successional player development. And, nice to see it out on the pitch, and obviously again England also grateful to be picking up the hard work of many of those club coaches, school coaches who are seeing the development of these players that have scored so many goals today, so credit to them too.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it's great for somebody like Bill Berry who has been a servant to the game for countless years. I mean, it's great that the effort that he's put in is being rewarded here today. And Ross Scott-Taylor, I mean, Tom and I can't say enough fabulous things about Ross and his coaching. I believe he's 2 years into a 3-year deal with Bromley. So hopefully, we'll see Ross back in coaching in the National League next season. Be interesting to see what he might do after that. I mean, he's a very sought-after coach.
Yeah, I mean, what you can see with what he's done with the young team here is, give them that organisation, give them that bit of experience. And give them a bit of belief, when we've seen them play, you've got some really young players now, Jacob Ramos coming on, and again, this is a really young section we've got here with Alyssa, Kashala, Jacob and Max, and nice to see hopefully a good finish. But again, look at that, great jump, good athleticism, 3rd, 4th phase of the attack. I think they're combined, the eldest one in the group is probably only 17.
Yeah, very impressive stuff. Substitution for Cardiff then for the last few minutes. Wrigley coming on for Kira Washtel, I believe, we're gesturing at. Yep. Cardiff then, they should be disappointed. Certainly, I was really impressed with their game last year here against Highbury. I know a lot of these players personally. I haven't been involved with Wales, and they certainly haven't shown what they're capable of today. That's to take nothing away from Bromley. I mean, Bromley really have turned up and really impressed me, and that's a nice move. But it doesn't come off.
Yeah, it's just not worked for them today, and I think the 5 missed penalties are probably indicative of it's just not been their day, and sometimes it isn't, and then nothing really quite works for you, even the perfect move as we just saw. So it's been one of those. It's worked brilliantly for Bromley, and everything they do has worked brilliantly, and for Cardiff it's just not quite worked.
For sure, they just don't seem to have had an answer to Bromley's athleticism. The sheer speed and power and drive that Bromley have showed has been so impressive, and certainly I can't wait to see what they can do in the National League next season. Clever interception from Sean Berry.
Well, as I said, they've set the marker down, 21 goals in a promo final. There's over 10.5, and that's the benchmark that we want to see. Goals being scored.
Certainly. So, whilst there's only 2 minutes remaining, let's perhaps turn our vision over to the next game that we've got, the final game of the day, which is the final between the teams that finished first and second in the regular season, Beck and Trojans. As a former Trojans player, Steph, I assume your loyalty is there, but I think for the first time ever, it's fair to say that Trojans are probably the underdog going into this game. So have you got any insight? Have you been speaking to the players? I know a few players have returned, a few players have not left, but are not available for today. I know they're certainly missing 2 of the Brookses in Catherine and Sam. What do you think we can expect from that game later?
Yeah, I think it is probably fair to say that Trojans would be considered the underdog. They've picked up some significant injuries, obviously, to Sam Brooks mid on in the season. We could see the return of Tony Woodbine.
We could.
But, he can't be underestimated, put in a fair few goals against Kingfisher to get to the final. We know it's always a tight game against Beck. Beck have had a prolific season, both defensively, keeping the goals down and scoring huge goal tallies across the teams in the league. I definitely think they're, going to be tough to beat, but, you can't ever write Trojans off.
No, you certainly can't. I think if the last 14 years have taught us anything, it's certainly that you can never write off Trojans. That was a nicely converted penalty for Elisa Dimitriou, who got a lovely reception from the crowd when she scored.
This is just really nice to see, really. This is, a nice young division, working really, really well and getting their opportunities.
Well read by Sean Berry, who thinks had a good game. Nikki Morgan from the back takes that shot. Yeah, that's a nice goal for her. And that could well be the last goal of the game with only 17 seconds left on the shot clock. So it does look as if Bromley will be joining the National League next season. A very, very promising club from the looks of it. I mean, typically it'd be fair to say that most teams that get promotion that are new to the National League typically finish close to the bottom. But I mean, this Bromley team, I really wouldn't put it past them to pull off some really impressive results next year.
And the league is changing. We've had some unbelievable results in the league this year, upsets from top to bottom. So, this Bromley team are not going to be coming in with a view to just survive. They'll be coming in with their eyes on the prize on a few of the teams in the National League. And, the 22 goals against the experienced Cardiff team is putting the marker down.
For sure. I mean, hey, let's say it. Massive congratulations to Bromley. Really, really impressive stuff. 22 goals. They should be really happy with that. A really clinical performance from beginning to end. Cardiff, just not their day, not coming together. It's a shame. They'll go away. I'm sure, they'll rebuild. They'll look at a few things. They'll work harder. And next season, who knows? Maybe we'll see them in this promo game again. Shout out to the referees. I thought a very well refereed game in Jack Birch and Rob King. But congratulations to Bill Berry and Roskar Taylor.
Yeah, and it's just really nice to see. They've brought a big crowd here today who are going to be going home happy. And, there's a lot of young faces, in that team who got their first feeling of a really big win, and well done to Bromley. Commiserations to Cardiff, as you say, just wasn't their day for them today, and I'm sure that they'll be back, and learn their lessons and be stronger. It is always heartbreaking to, and Highbury have been there in a final and not quite made it, but, you come back stronger. Rebuild, and they'll be a staple part of some of these promo finals, I'm sure, to come.
For sure. Steph, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure we'll hear from you more in the final, but make sure you stick tuned, because coming up next we have got that final, the rematch, the match between Beck and Trojans. Again, like we were saying, Beckham definitely the favourites, but you can never count off this Trojans team. Join us again at 4 o'clock for that final.